Hello and welcome back to Premier League Primetime. No, this is an unusual episode, but I'm here with Andre. How are you doing, bro?
Going good.
Yeah, and Andre and I, we're here to bring you just we're here to bring you just we're starting with today and your episode to we want to bring you just a bit of side videos, just a bit of different topics, and just looking at some like general overall insights or opinions about the Premier League in terms of players and whatnot. And we've come up with a very good topic here. We look at the past uh, uh, 8 match days, and we've kind of, and I think at this point we've kind of distinguished who's been really good, who's been the same, and who's more or less been crap. And the two of us have gone and we've made a team of the season for the first 8 weeks of the Premier League with the impressive 11 and then the not so impressive 11. So yeah, we just wanted to share this with you, and we want to hear your insights. Whether it's comments down below on Instagram, whatnot, wherever you want to put them. We want to hear your insights of what are your an impressive team of the season so far, and what is your not so impressive team of the season. And Andre, anything else to add before we get right into it?
No, let's get into it.
All right, let's get right into it.
Yeah.
All right, so as you can see, we're all here and good to go.
Let's go. High tech. Let's go. Okay.
I have no idea how to do the
Present.
oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay.
Okay.
All right, so all right, so there it is. There it is. So, team of the season. We gone through the impressive lineup so far. We came up with a pretty unanimous agreement. 4-3-3. We thought was a pretty decent enough Serrano formation.
Best way to fit everybody in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, and let's get right into the first one. Starting off in goal, Emi Martinez. Now, this guy has been all of us, including Sears himself, and hasn't been too happy about the way Arsenal got rid of Emiliano Martinez, but he wanted to go because he wanted to play first team football. He wanted to be a starter, and it was a 50-50 chance. Let's be real, 50-50 chance he would be getting that spot at Arsenal. And I mean, both those two, Bernd Leno and Emi Martinez, are pretty neck and neck. But Aston Villa, he said when he first joined Aston Villa that it was a step up from Arsenal, but a lot of people are saying it was a step down for him. What this Aston Villa side is now, I mean, he is a huge part of what they are right now. And he's been, for the most part, rock solid in goal, to be honest with you. And yeah, he 100% deserves a place in the impressive starting 11. Andre, what are your thoughts on Emi Martinez?
Yeah, he needed minutes and he deserved them. He proved it when he, had those games at Arsenal at the end of last season. He was brilliant, so he definitely deserves it. I think he means a step up because, before he's playing, third string for a Premier League club, and now he's, starting for a Premier League club that I think right now is higher in the table, but that's irrelevant. Point is, he deserves minutes. He's incredibly solid. He's really, really good keeper to keep an eye on.
Yeah, and everything that's happened to him, it really is well deserved for Emi Martinez. I mean, for years, I mean, someone told me last season that Leno would have the injury that he had, and Martinez would have come in for how many games was it? Andre? Was it like 7, 8, 9 games? To come in and be absolutely rock solid, including FA Cup games and stuff like that.
I mean, just
Um,
amazing stops. Some of
I
his,
probably would have started laughing, to be honest with you.
yeah,
But this one proved me wrong. But yeah, he's been incredible this season, and yeah, no doubt about Emi Martinez, 100% gets his place in goal.
yeah.
Going on to right back, and another pretty obvious choice, Mr. Tarek Lamptey. Ever since his arrival at Brighton from Chelsea, kind of left for the similar reasons. Wanted to play, knew he had ability, and now sides like Atletico Madrid and you have Sevilla, Bayern Munich for Borussia Dortmund, some bigger clubs in England now interested in acquiring Tarek Lamptey. This guy, in terms of his crossing abilities, his ability to put balls in the box, his recovery, he definitely reminds me a lot of my guy, Mr. Spider-Man, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, with a great deal. I know Andre is shaking his head, probably because he's jealous because Mr. Matt Doherty, and Serge Aurier aren't even as fit as good as Wan-Bissaka is, so he's probably
Eric
shaking his head in
Lamptey.
disbelief. But yeah, to continue on what we were going on. Yeah, Tarek Lamptey, another brilliant English right back who I don't know may force his way into Gareth Southgate's starting 11. But knowing Gareth Southgate, he will probably still say Kieran Trippier is the best right back ever with
100%.
Trent.
He is though.
Oh come on, he'd won good World Cup and then he spiraled down.
He didn't just have one good World Cup. He had one amazing World Cup, fantastic World Cup. He was integral to the attack of our team to England's created more chances than any other player at the World Cup. So he's still a great solid option. I mean, Tarek Lamptey is great in a back five or back three, back five, depending on how you see it. And Trippier can also do those things. So Lamptey definitely has some great competition, but Lamptey is one for the future. He's fantastic. We've shown it this season. He's probably Brighton's one of Brighton's top three most threatening players right now, and he's a right back. So really impressive from Tarek Lamptey.
Yeah, says all you need to know about him. And one thing before we continue with our 11s, with our starting 11s, and with our 11s, something I will say, with the players that we chose, and it isn't necessarily just the best players in the Premier League just by ability. Because I mean, to be honest with you, that would just be pretty boring. It would be all the usual. I mean, you get the Agueros and you get the Raheem Sterlings and
The Trents.
yeah, and for me, and we specifically chose players that have been really impressive or players that have just caught a lot of eyes, and just players that, yeah, as I literally just said, have just been brilliant for the first 8 weeks. Yes, yes, some of them, or more like several of them, are players that you will know, but these players have had a brilliant start. Um, uh, and and for each 11, we do have five. We have a 5-man bench, which is more or less like the honorable mentions for both. And the same goes for the disappointing 11. We didn't choose like the Phil Joneses and the Rojos and the Mustafis. I mean, yes, some of those kinds of players are in there, but it's players who've just been really, really poor, and they've just not been great, to be honest with you.
This is
Yeah,
based. This is based on current form, and it's this season, not in general. I think that's
yeah,
without
yeah. For the
without.
vast majority, it's based on current form. And for the players that we chose, stats don't tell everything. I just think that's a really important thing to say. When you look at some of the stats, sure they might say otherwise, but when you watch these players, but when you actually watch them in a game, it's very, very different. Anyways, right back Tarek Lamptey. Moving on to the first center back, Mr. Tyrone Mings. And since last season, this guy has been impressive, but particularly this season, with Aston Villa, him and Konsa anchoring that back four of Aston Villa. Um, um, what more can I say? He's big, he's strong, he's good in the air, he's decently quick, a good left foot. Yeah, he's turned into one of Gareth Southgate's favorites. But knowing Gareth Southgate, that's not too hard to do. But yeah, he's been very good. He's been one of the best center backs of the league, in my opinion, in terms of consistency and form. Andre, what do you have to say about Tyrone Mings?
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously one of the most important parts of Villa's defense, if not the most important. His pairing with Conte has been incredibly successful this season, and you know they have they deserve a lot of praise for how well Aston Villa has started off the season as a strong, you know, top half contender. I think he's really solid at the back, directing everybody. He's obviously an aerial threat, so yeah, deserves a lot of praise to Mings.
Yeah, very well said there by Andre. Tyrone Mings, he's been very good, and hopefully he can continue this good run of form. And if he does, I think he'll be an integral part of England's, back three, back four, back five, whatever the hell Gareth Southgate does with his England team. I mean, I really don't know. I mean,
I'm
Gareth
sure it's in the back
Southgate's.
of his mind. I'm sure it's in the back of his mind to make that England squad and just really assert himself. He's got competition, but he's really strong contender. I think he can definitely has have his eyes on it
But there is one left-footed player who's way better in a back three, Luke Shaw.
for sure.
Anyways, anyways, none of that.
Wait till we get to that worst 11, but let's keep going.
Anyways, going into the next player, and I know Mr. Sears is going to be very happy that if he's watching this, Mr. Gabriel. I cannot pronounce his last name for my life, and I'm not going to try because I'll probably say it wrong. But yeah, I've said it so many times, and I'll say it again. 30 million pounds from Lille. In my opinion, the best center back in the league in terms of consistency and form. I think this guy has been a revelation for them. He's been huge for them, and especially for a guy like or not a guy, but for a coach like for Mikel Arteta, for a guy for a coach who definitely is who leans towards playing out the back, having a guy like Socrates in terms of last season, that wasn't really going to help him. David Luiz was really the only kind of ball playing center back, whether it's a back four, back three. And Gabriel will definitely help, has definitely been helping with those problems. The Manchester United game was very clear and evident of how good this guy can be. This guy is simply phenomenal. He's sensational. Andre, over to you. What are your thoughts on Gabriel?
No, I mean, he plays for the worst team in North London, so I'm not going to praise him too much. But he is a great player. I mean, I don't want to talk about him too much, but I've praised him before. He's really added a lot to Arsenal's back line. He's their most solid defender at the moment. So instant impact deserves to be in this 11. Sadly.
Yeah, no doubt about it. He's a brilliant player. The Villa game is unfortunate. And just kind of the crap that was going around him.
That was headed.
What?
We all knew where that was headed. They were gonna lose. It just seemed so pre-written that they were gonna.
Yeah. I mean, of course, but I mean, I felt sorry for Gabriel because he's looking around him saying, like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
I mean, to a certain extent, I did feel sorry for Gabriel in that situation. Our other center back, Gabriel. Moving into left back, this is and Andre and I were having a couple talking points. We definitely weren't sure. We were talking about Matt Targett from Villa. We were talking about his boy Serge Reguilon, who should have been my boy at United, but no, he's Andre's boy now. We were talking about Luca Digne, but we just kind of came to a conclusion that that there was really generally there was really only one choice, and it's someone who you will all know, Mr. Ben Chilwell for Chelsea. Chelsea, since Conte left, for those past 2 years, having a lot of issues at left back, not having left back who's who's good going forward, but also good defensively. And a part of that big summer spending spree, Frank Lampard, um, wanting that deal done, £50 million from Leicester City, and it's already it's already kind of looking like it's worth it. But let's not jump the gun. I did that. I'm guilty of it with Harry Maguire last year. That went horribly wrong. But yeah, Chilwell's had a great start to life at Chelsea, and he's perfectly slot in at left back. And yeah, English will definitely be Gareth Southgate's number one. Andrew, what are you saying about Ben Chilwell?
Yeah, I think he's still got more to prove. There are questions being asked him that he needs to, he still needs to prove. But so far, he's answering all of them. That thus far, he's been really solid for Chelsea. He's added a lot. Um, uh, yeah, it was really really good impact so far, and he deserves to be here.
Yeah, and that's another thing I'll briefly or lastly add on about Ben Chilwell. He 100% deserves his move. He definitely does. Um, I mean, links to. He was linked to Arsenal at the beginning of the 1920 season. He was, of course, linked to you know who. If you're British and you're young and you're a defender, of course, there's going to be one club you're linked to, and Tyrone Mings was, and Joe Rodon was. He was, of course, linked to Manchester United, but he opted for Chelsea because he knew that competition would be tough with Luke Shaw. Anyways, going into our central defensive midfielder now, there was a lot of talking points here. We could have gone the Fernandinho, Rodri. I personally don't get the hype with Rodri. Look for all City
Okay,
fans
yeah.
who might be raging with me. I don't think he's a bad player. I think he's a good player, a decent player, but I just think he gets way too much hype that he actually is good for. We could have we could have gone the Fabinho route. Uh, we could have gone the Wilfred Ndidi route, the Conte route, but we chose someone who really just again who just recently has been getting a good bit of spotlight and who still really isn't, and he definitely deserves some of the spotlight. Mr. Southampton, Mr. James Ward-Prowse, Mr. Free Kick Specialist. In that 4-4-2 that Ralph Hasenhüttl sets up with those two box to box or with those two box to box as Romeu and James Ward-Prowse. Romeu being more of like doing more of the Matic job, and that's what I call it, the Matic job, and he destroys, springs the ball forward. But James Ward-Prowse defensively is also a very good player. He's definitely. He's very tenacious. I've seen him going for a tackle or two. He kind of, for all Man United fans who might think I'm crazy, for whatever reason, he sort of gives me Ander Herrera vibes. He kind of does in the sense of like he's that box to box player who's very very good defensively, but then will surge forward. Um, um uh, uh Yeah, but only for that reason, he kind of gives me a bit of Ander Herrera vibes, who I miss very, very, very much. And for people who know me best, I love Ander Herrera. I love him to bits. James Ward-Prowse kind of gives me those kind of like Herrera-esque vibes. Andre, what are you saying about James Ward-Prowse?
I think easily one of the best box to box midfielders in the league. I think he's redefining that what the expectations are of that role in the midfield. He's just so brilliant all over. Obviously, his attack, we've all seen his free kicks. So his attacking output's obviously pretty impressive, and defensively he just breaks things down so well, wins the ball so much. And since Højbjerg left, who was a big deal at Southampton, their captain, he's taken the captaincy and just been taking it head on. He's been brilliant. He's leader by example, leader through yelling too. I mean, he's been deserves a lot of praise, and I think I could very well see him in Southgate's squad in the Euro. Maybe not as a starter, but I think he definitely has a really good shot at making it. He's really impressive. Big fan of Ward-Prowse.
And talking about Gareth Southgate definitely likes him. He's called him up on several occasions. He definitely really likes James Ward-Prowse. Andre may be wrong, but is he an academy graduate at Southampton?
I'm not sure. No idea.
Well, me neither. And it shows. Of course, we're still learning ourselves. But yeah. Getting back to Ward Prowse. What more can I say? Um, in terms of his chances of starting, I don't know. There's one name who definitely will be starting on the team sheet, who probably will take his spot.
Harry Winks.
We'll pretend that a ghost just came in and said that.
Okay.
Because I think I heard a voice say like something like Harry Winks.
Mini.
Or as a good friend of mine calls him, Mini Essa Harry Winkerbell oozing pixie dust. I don't know why he calls him that, but yeah. James Ward-Prowse for me, he's definitely if he keeps up the way he's playing, he'll definitely have a place in Southgate squad. The only reason why Jude Bellingham was called up was because of that injury to James Ward-Prowse. Otherwise, he would have been in the England squad. But yeah, there it is. Our central defensive midfielder, Mr. James Ward-Prowse. Going to the next one. This one is a no-brainer. This guy has been absolutely phenomenal. This was, when we were first thinking about our 11, this was arguably the very first player that we said, yep, he goes in right away. Mr. Jack Grealish of Aston Villa. What more can I say? Other than the fact that now he's at a level where I can just call him in my opinion, I think he's a world-class player at this point. Yes, I know it's only with Aston Villa. With all due respect to Aston Villa, they're not in Manchester United, Manchester City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal kind of club. The only reason I didn't mention Tottenham is because, they're not that big of a club. But sticking with Jack Grealish, the guy is so good that even Gareth Southgate, for so long, who's never liked Jack Grealish, has been calling him up, and he's been starting him in games. Jack Grealish is just a phenomenal player. We saw the way, as in episode 9, he spun Rob Holding and he bullied Hector Bellerin. He literally body checked him. And he body checked him, more or less saying, get out the way, I'm coming through. He absolutely bullied and terrorized Arsenal's back five, which I know Andre was having his little was having fun watching, weren't you, Andre?
Oh yeah, he deserves it. It was a long time coming. Like I said, we all knew Aston Villa were just gonna destroy Arsenal. They needed that kick up the backside. They barely scraped by West Ham, and I know we couldn't get a result versus West Ham, but still, we all saw it coming. Jack Grealish has been brilliant in every match, I'd say, for Villa, almost every match. He's almost single-handedly destroyed Liverpool. He's destroyed Arsenal. It's really up to him where if he does want to stay at Villa or if he wants to go.
He signed a new contract. As a little flash in the past, because Manchester United did sign Donny van de Beek, that was kind of like, you're kind of ending our interest in Grealish.
Yeah.
I'll hold my hands up. At the time, I thought Van de Beek was a better option. People can call me mental now, but for a guy who, and let's be real, if Jack Grealish weren't in that Villa side, they'd be in the Championship right now. They wouldn't be in the Premier League. But because he stayed, Villa were just like, nope, £80 million Harry Maguire fee. And Ed was probably looking at it, and he was probably going, Jeepers creepers, Mr. Ed Woodward, no chance of my paying another £18 million. Even though this is a guy that all he wants, I'm not going to back him anyways.
Yeah.
Don't get that whatsoever. Not going to go on about the Glazers. But yeah. right now, I'd say he's worth about 100 million right now. Um, and for me, if a guy like Paul Pogba leaves in the summer, this is a guy who I would personally, splash all the cash on. I would break the bank for. This guy is nothing but short of sensational. And yeah, Jack Grealish for me can Jack Grealish for me fits into any team in the Premier League. Don't care which team it is. I mean, I
And,
mean,
honestly.
hmm?
Possibly even some world teams that are huge around the world. I mean, he would fit in at any team in the world. I think. I mean, he's fantastic. I could see him blending in anywhere.
And he's super adaptable. Take him in the left, on the right. You can play in the midfield.
Yeah.
He's a he's a very versatile player. Yeah. First central midfielder, center attacking mid, Jack Grealish, and of course, and no, it's not going to be Kevin De Bruyne, but I'm sorry for all Man City fans who are about to see this. But he's been phenomenal this season. This guy statistically has created more chances than Kevin De Bruyne and anybody else in the Premier League this season, and that is my boy. You know it, Mr. Bruno Fernandes, the guy who I love and adore, the guy who carried Manchester United to the Champions League last season when he came in January. What more can I say about this guy than I already have? This guy is phenomenal. Captain material for me, leader, and for me, if he stays at the club, he probably won't. But if he stays at the club for the remainder of his career, he could be a club legend. He also could be a club legend. I mean, so many of the fans already adore him. They already adore him. I adore him myself. And if it were for Bruno Fernandes, United would probably have finished 10th last year. I'll be real. Paul Pogba would have been gone. A lot of our star players would have been questioning their futures. But yeah, he's been nothing short of exceptional. And Andre, what do you have to say about the guy who's 8 times better than Dele Alli?
Oh my god! I mean, they're not okay. They can't be compared. But I mean,
Well, they kind of
whatever.
can.
No, they're different players. Okay, but whatever. No, Bruno. I mean, I have a lot of praise for Bruno. He's been, you know, really the standout player at United, which I know normally isn't saying much, but in his case, it is because he's just he's
Oh,
really
Andre,
brilliant.
come on.
No, he's been, he's, I mean, really brilliant. He's become just the center of that team. I think United going forward should build a team around him. He adds so much quality. Like you said, he's a leader. So, I mean, anyone who doesn't rate or praise Bruno Fernandes is really deluded because I think it should be pretty universal that he's just a class player at the moment.
Yeah. Um, 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 yeah. I'm not gonna say too much more about Bruno Fernandez because people are gonna
Well,
start thinking that my bias is taking place. But yeah, he is a world class player, and and like Jack Grealish, this guy could be in any team in the world. Honestly, he's sensational. He's brilliant. Anyways,
if we let Dave talk about Bruno Fernandes as much as he wanted, this video would be 6 hours long. So
yep,
it'd be
100%.
just keeping going forever. So let's move on.
Anyways, anyways, going on the left hand side, one of Andre's beloved, and it would be the exact same thing about if Andre were to talk about this guy. This video would be 6 hours. Mr. Hyung Min Son, like the previous two, would be in any team in the world. Well, I don't know if he'd fit in Manchester United. I mean, he's got fierce competition from like when Pereira comes back, and you got, you got Jay Lings, and of course you have the world class Daniel James. But yeah, um, all banter aside, Hyungmin Son, what can I say? World class player, brilliant player. Um, um, I've seen it myself. I've seen it myself after the nightmares and the horrors and the trauma he gave Manchester United's back four. on that fateful day at Old Trafford when he scored. I think it was his first. I think it was his first ever goal against Manchester United. I think his first ever goal.
Well, the second one wasn't. That was his second goal. But the first one, yeah.
Yeah,
The first one in that game was his first.
yeah,
But
yeah.
the
His
second in
first
that
ever
game
goal
was
was
the second.
Manchester United. And yeah, yeah, and as Andre pointed out, not only did he score one, but he scored two. But when you're coming up against someone like Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw, and you're trying to run, and you have Nemanja Matic trying to use his 99 pace to use his 99 pace to track back. Really isn't that difficult to score. It really isn't that difficult to score goals, isn't it? Anyways, yeah. Heung-min Son is I mean, this guy, he can play on the right, he can play up front, he could play on the left. I've seen him playing even in the 10 at rarely, occasionally. But yeah, this guy's pace, his skills, his shooting ability, I mean, he is clinical. He has ice in his veins. He is phenomenal for me. Andre, what are your thoughts? Andre, what are your thoughts on your boy? And don't take 6 hours, please.
Thank you. Well, come on. I appreciate that you called him world class. That's been a debate, but it shouldn't be.
Well, at
Youngman's
this point, it shouldn't be a debate.
it shouldn't. Youngman's son now though he's fantastic. I think he's loved by every Tottenham fan ever. I mean, he's the most neutrally loved, from rival fans to even I know Arsenal fans who are like, oh, I can't hate Youngman's son. So he's no,
Even
he's so
Searsoft show is yeah. Even Searsoft show as well as he rates Youngman Son.
he's really great. He could. I think he's been. I think Ronaldo even just jokingly talked to him about Juventus before. Yeah, Heung-min Son deserves so much praise. He's really. I think this year he's hitting heights like he's never hit before. I think we'll see an absolute next level of Heung-min Son this season, and I mean it'd be stupid not to have him here. So that's all.
Yeah. And yeah, um, that just kind of sums up how good Heung-min Son has been for Tottenham. And anyways, going into the next player on our list, and it is Diogo Jota. Came into Liverpool. He was absolutely, he has been nothing short of phenomenal. So much so that you're now actually deciding, who to start up front in your attack. Brilliant against Atalanta in the Champions League. Um, what more can I say? A lot actually. Aiden, if you're watching. But yeah, Diogo Jota, he made a huge impacts, and as I just said, so much so that Roberto Firmino is actually going to be, I mean, could potentially be dropped. And again, Klopp's put him all over the place. He's putting him on the wings. He's put him up front. He's put him through the middle. Um, I mean, and this was a guy that we all thought would just be, I don't know, an understudy to Salah and Mane and Firmino, but he's actually pushed his way into the starting 11, and he's been nothing short of phenomenal. Yeah, but Diogo Jota, great player. Um, on Andre, what are you saying about Diogo Jota?
100% a really fantastic transfer. I think I've been saying that. Yeah, he was playing in Mane's role before during his absence, and I think we can expect him to play the Salah role this weekend. I'm excited to see how he fares. I think we would have been surprised to, keep, I don't know, to even put Jota in this 11 at the beginning, but he deserves it. He's been really class. I think deserves to be in the squad for sure. His dribbling, his creation, he's such a creationist too, which is what would ultimately maybe push him over the line instead of Bobby Firmino would be that he adds so much to this Liverpool side, any side on the attack really. Jota, yeah, we've all been very surprised by him.
Yeah, and personally, like Diogo Jota has been one of the biggest surprises of the season. And as we were saying, a guy who what was it? I heard the deal was like 4 million up front and then like 40 million in add-ons or something like that. I don't know.
A weird deal.
Regardless, I think it was like what 40 million pounds for him. Yeah, absolute steal. When Watford were asking for the same money for Tada, it's Ismail Yassar, which United were about to pay. Don't even get me don't even get me started. But yeah, there is Diogo Jota, and then up front, again, another guy that Andre will be waffling on about for 6 hours if you give him unlimited time.
Show
Mr.
it.
Spurs, Mr. Spurs
Show it.
himself, Harry Kane, of course. Anybody who says this guy isn't world class is just simply and utterly deluded. This guy now, since when? Since 2015, 16, has been nothing short of phenomenal. For me personally, I think if he wants to up his level, he should leave Tottenham for me, to go to one of the biggest clubs in the world and prove it there. But yeah, Harry Kane is just a phenomenal player. He's a phenomenal striker. Can do so much. And Jose Mourinho, especially this season, he's really upped his game for me. And and I know as weird as it sounds, Jose Mourinho for me has turned him now into a complete number 9. And 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 kind of like Anthony Martial, who I know Harry Kane only dreams of being like. That guy is seriously ice cold in his veins. That guy is just phenomenal for me. What more can I say? Andre, I'll let you have the stand for talking about Harry Kane.
Yeah, I'll tell you what you can say. Here's what you can say. 8 matches gone so far, right? Eight matches gone so far. He's
Oh,
had
don't bring Anto into this.
Okay, no, I'm not going to. I'm just okay.
All right.
Even whatever. Okay, 15 direct goal contributions, 8 assists, 7 goals in eight matches played so far. He's made he's been our best defender too. He made an insane goal line clearance. He's taken his game to a whole new level. Harry Kane is. If we were playing in the Champions League, I would say he's a strong contender for Ballon d'Or this year. But we're in the Europa League, due to some BS. But he is no really, really. He's taken his game to a whole new level. Season deserves so much praise. I've been raving about how good he's been. Best player in the league right now for me. I'll stop talking. But 8 goals, 7 assists, and sorry, no, 7 goals, 8 assists in 8 matches is absolutely mad. Really. So meanwhile, Emerick Aubameyang is living off like 2 goals and that's it. I think.
Oh, come on. Don't upset Sirius. Come on, bro.
I'm just saying Kane has been
And
fantastic, and Aubameyang has been underwhelming. So Kane, best player.
and also normally I never, and other than my predictions for Arsenal, I of course never back Arsenal by anything, but I will come to Aubameyang's defense and will say, is Harry Kane being played in a formation where he's being forced to play out wide? No. Is he being played in a formation where he has to constantly supply crosses to two underwhelming other members of an attacking trio? No, he doesn't. So
Okay,
for
okay.
me,
No, Aubameyang is a class player, but he is not.
he's a world class player.
Yeah, of course he is, but he's not.
Is he better than Kane at the moment? No, he's not.
No, but if we're talking, but in terms of who's more effective, who's a better player, I don't even understand the debate. Aubameyang is simply, if you look at his statistics from last season, he was more effective on the wing, which is why Arteta put him there. He was living off playing that 4-2-3-1 off the wing. So I think we should see Aubameyang through the center, but the fact is that right now we're not. Okay, I don't even think he's playing out of position. I don't know. He's clearly had experience in that position. Yes, he's obviously a much more adaptable forward than Kane, but Kane's also coming deep into the 6th role and playing those long balls, so they're just adaptable in different ways. So Kane is just so much of a better striker. But I don't. Okay, I'll stop talking.
Yep. And here we had this man telling me, and here we had this man telling me, I'd be waffling on about Bruno forever. Anyways, and we're now going to go to our five-man bench, and as I accidentally revealed to you, the first man on the bench, Mr. Edouard Mendy. And to be honest with you, the keepers were difficult to choose. We could have gone, the obvious Ederson, Lloris, De Gea, Allison kind of route, but we wanted to make it interesting. And of course, stats are one part of it, but the impact this guy has made at Chelsea has been huge. It's been astronomical. Because before him, in goal, Chelsea had one of the best managers in the world, and that clearly just wasn't working out for them. So they brought this guy in, who had a good reputation in Ligue 1, and came from Rennes. I think that's how I say it. But for all of our for all of our French fans watching this, I sincerely apologize. Yeah. Edouard Mendy, he has been nothing short of exceptional for Chelsea. Defensively, Chelsea look more confident. Something I haven't. I mean, I've slagged them off for the longest time. I think we all have. And I think it's been like the past 6 games now since he's played. They haven't lost in like 6 games or something like that. Yeah. Yeah. This guy's been phenomenal. Brilliant goalkeeper. And Andre, what are you saying about Edouard Mendy?
Yeah, this is what to expect from a top six keeper. He's solid. He's doing those extraordinary saves, that extra bit of class that you need to have as a goalie for a top six side. His impact has been immense.
Like the Man United game, another good performance against us.
I mean, it was incredibly hard to get past against us too. I mean, that was on his debut. He deserves a lot of praise for his impact. The only reason that we've put Martinez up in there is just because minutes.
And it's Aston Villa we're talking about. I mean, Chelsea and Aston Villa in terms of this, club by stature. There's a huge, gap between them. But what Martinez has done for Villa for me outweighs what Mendy's done for Chelsea. But some of the saves he makes, he definitely reminds me, like some of the acrobatics, it definitely reminds me of 2016, 2017, 2018 David De Gea. With the acrobatics and the way he swallowed his feet, it really does remind me of that. It's a shame that De Gea isn't, like as much anymore. But yeah, he definitely gives me those De Gea-esque kind of vibes in his peak. Anyways, going into our defender that we chose, and this is a guy who's just been he's been kind of overlooked because there have been so many other good defenders, but this is a guy who we felt like deserved the praise with the major defensive injuries that the team has had. Mr. Wesley Fofana of Leicester City, coming in from Saint Etienne, the same team as Sears said from some episodes ago, the same team that what's his face, William Saliba came from, who at the moment can't get a game for Arsenal, unfortunately. Yeah, and he has been rock solid. Their defensive injuries. So Yunchinu out, Johnny Evans out. I think Castagna may be injured. I don't know. Who else is out? Ricardo Pereira's out still.
That's right.
I mean, those are some big players are missing. And yeah, Wesley Fofana has just been anchoring that back. He's been anchoring, but now it's a back three or back five for Brendan Rodgers' side. Again, kind of like Tyrone Mings, good in the air. He's strong. He's quick. Yes, he's right-footed, but yeah, he's a very good, promising up and coming talent. What are you saying about Wesley Fofana?
Well, I was excited when they were rumored with him. I think one of the main reasons why Leicester fell off last season was some of their defensive issues. and they're league leaders now. Even with the injuries that they're having, for me, they're title contenders. I've seen what they can do at their best.
Uh,
I'd say whatever. I think the fact is they've been one of the best sides. They've been probably more consistent than pretty much any other team. So for me personally, I think they're up there. Um, Wesley Fofana has been really great for them so far.
yeah. I can't do anything but agree. This guy has been sensational for Leicester. He's been huge, especially with all their defensive injuries and everything. Yeah, that's what we just about Wesley Fofana. Anyways, going into our next player, and again, another brilliant, fantastic player that we have for you. Whoops. Mr. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg came in from Southampton. Another one of Andre's voice from Tottenham. Came in with a pretty big resume. A Bayern Munich reject. Came to Southampton, made his name there, putting in some brilliant performances. And yeah, this was a deal that definitely looked like was going to happen for a very, very long period of time. And when I first saw that Tottenham were interested, I was like, huh? Jose Mourinho is not interested in like like a veteran kind of player. I mean, yeah, I know Højbjerg is like what 25, 26, so he's not necessarily a spring chicken, but or yeah, but I mean, I thought it'd be like Wilfred Ndidi or something like that. Knowing Jose Mourinho, he likes his big names. But Højbjerg, I think he's the number one in the Premier League in terms of pass completion, if I'm not wrong. I think over like 600 passes or something completed so far, and that is incredible. Um, um, yeah. Yeah, sure, he's not as good as Matic. But yeah, Kielemir Højbjerg has been phenomenal. And Andre, what are you saying about Højbjerg?
Yeah, exceeded my expectations personally from when he came in. You could call him a Bayern reject, or you could call him a Pep Guardiola prospect, depending on how you look at it. Uh, he's been really good. I mean, I'm impressed by his mentality too. Yes, Mourinho's instilled a mentality in Tottenham, but I think Højbjerg is also a big credit to that. I saw it in the penalty shootout win against Chelsea, which I know wasn't the Prem, but he was so confident. He instills a lot of confidence in the players. He's happy to be where he is, and he's playing the role really well. I think it's been a while since we've had a player like him in our DNA.
Since Musa Dembele, I'd say.
Probably. I mean, his passing is crazy. I mean, for me, he's just personally. I know I'm saying another personal opinion. Better than Rodri at the moment, and I think it'll be between him and Thiago for most passes completed by the end of the season.
Bruh, did you really just say Thiago, bro? Thiago,
You're
my
not
guy.
you don't rate Thiago?
Bro, bro, bro. Don't upset Aiden like that, man. Come on.
What am I upset? I'm saying they're both going to be up there at the top for like the most passes. I'm
Bro,
praising.
come on. Come on,
I'm
bro.
not saying he's on his level. I'm
It's
saying
Thiago, bro.
we're talking about this.
Thiago, come on.
Okay, well, I'm just saying this season, I think they're both going to have fantastic seasons as playing that defensive mid role. I think they'll both outshine Rodri. I think they're both going to be really good. I think it'll be between them for most passes completed by the end of the season.
Yeah. I personally do agree with that. Yeah, I think Højbjerg. I think he's gonna have a good season. And he's a big player for that Jose Mourinho side. And yeah, hopefully he'll look to cement his starting place, whether it's next to Harry Winks, whether it's Musa Sissoko, whether Jose Mourinho's new bestie Tanguy drops back there. With Giovanni Lo Celso, there are many ways that Jose Mourinho could go with this. Many different ways he could go with this. Yeah. That is the first of that's first midfield we have on our bench. Pierre Pierre-Emile Højbjerg.
I think he dispossessed Fernandez twice during the game. I mean, he's leading the press too. So
Anyways, going into the next thing, and this is a player who's for me, since he actually came in on loan from Monaco, he just looks super impressive. He was very good for them last year, but I think this year he's just gone up a whole new level. Yuri Tillemans of Leicester City. As I said, I think in the last an episode or two ago, this was a guy I was praying that United would sign, but of course, knowing Manchester United, we only are now our new thing, other than Bruno Fernandes, is bringing in, and this is in general, young Brexit FC talent. So yeah, names like Declan Rice, who at the time wasn't great, to be honest with you. He's definitely very, very good now, but back then he really wasn't, that great of a player, and I kept seeing things like 60 million for Declan Rice, and I'm just like, nah, man, just spend like, I don't know, 20, 30, maybe 40 million pounds on Yuri Tillemans. He can do a good job. But yeah. Anyways, enough about United and the Glazers. I always get Robert Jones with them. What more can I say? Yuri Tillemans is just he's been also very good for Belgium as well. He definitely impressed in that game against England as well. And he has been huge, especially going forward for Leicester. He definitely is what I call a Pogba kind of midfielder. He is tremendous when it comes to being a box-to-box player. He is brilliant. He can do defensive. He can do dirty work very well. He can do the attacking work very well. He's just a really good all-around complete midfielder for me. Andre, what are you saying about Yuri Tillemans?
yeah, I think you've summed it up perfectly. Box to box, really has his own style of play that's working. He's a hard player. It's hard not to like this player. Um, really good for Leicester. Really good acquisition. Perfect fit. Really, I think he belongs there.
Yeah, I think Leicester's a perfect side for him, especially playing under a coach like Brendan Rodgers. I think that's a huge thing for him. I think Brendan Rodgers really up his game, and yeah, that's what it's about Yuri Tillemans. And going into the final player on our good slash impressive 11 on the bench, there is no way we could have left out this player because and as famously said, he has been flying this season, and I don't even mean that in quotes. I mean that's just my line. That's why I was saying it. A Mr. Everton himself, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He leads in the Golden Boot race, I believe. I could be wrong, but he leads in the Golden Boot race. I think he has 8-9 goals right now. And again, since Ancelotti's come in, Ancelotti's really upped his game for me personally. He's been nothing short of tremendous. He's crucial to that Everton side in terms of goals and productivity going forward. And kind of like Harry Kane is, he can hold the ball up. He can play it out wide. He can spray it forward. I mean, this is a guy who can just do it all at the moment, in my opinion. And yeah, no doubt he will be courted by big clubs in the summer. And I think Gareth Southgate already loves him too. So yeah, I think he'll be, if he keeps playing the way he's now, he'll definitely have a place in the England roster. What are you saying about Dominic Calvert-Lewin?
So everyone's saying the same stuff. He's really great player, and it's like his potential has just been unleashed by Ancelotti. He's been I think Rooney was already praising him before that, and now we're actually seeing it. Calvert-Lewin is complete step up. I think has a very good chance at making the England squad. I'd be surprised if he didn't. I think most of us would. Aerial threat, really good. He's joint top scorer right now with 8 goals. That's it. Calvert-Lewin, really class.
Yeah, pretty simple, pretty easy, pretty straightforward. This guy is top class at the moment. And yeah, I said top class and made sure to say top class. He's not world class yet. If Dominic Calvert-Lewin does this for consistent amount of seasons, 2 or 3 seasons, then you could say, yeah, this guy's world class.
Yeah, he's got more to prove.
Anyways, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin ends all the bright and positive sparks that we've had at the start of the first 8 weeks. And now we're going into our really disappointing and for some areas appalling poor 11, and we came with the formation, the 5-2-3 formation, or the Mikel Arteta's masterclass kind of formation, the classic 3 or 5 at the back, the 2 midfielders, and then you have your front 3. Anyways, starting off in goal, Mr. As Maurizio Sarri would say, because he loves to smoke, Kepa, Mr. Kepa Arrizabalaga, one of the a great manager, very good manager. He's been nothing short of horrendous. Was the very reason why they brought in Edouard Mendy. I think it just said it all when you saw that Liverpool second goal. When was I don't know if it's the first, second, whatever. But the ball got played back to Kepa, and he thought he could do a little bit of nutmeg, and he literally gave it right to Mane. And yeah, knowing Sadio Mane, you're screwed for like 99% of the time. You're actually screwed. And yeah, we've seen it so many times from Kepa. I think it's a confidence issue, and yeah, he's just been nothing short of horrendous for me. And, Andre, what are you saying about Kepa?
I mean, he's not. He doesn't deserve to be at Chelsea. He doesn't. He's not. He's not good enough. Well, I would love it if he stayed. I would love it if he stayed between those sticks and cemented a starting spot.
Me
I'd
too.
love it. I think all Ravel fans would. No, he had a bad season last season, but this has been a whole new level of low. I think he's just.
I cried when they signed Edouard Mendy.
Yeah, and they weren't even planning on signing a keeper, I don't think.
No, they weren't. They were just hoping Kepa could just, persevere.
Yeah, which his confidence is understandably incredibly low. We'll see if he can make his way back up, but it does seem like he's going to move abroad soon. Chelsea's not a team that sticks by their players. They make a number of
rarely, very rarely.
They make a number of chances as soon as the level drops, you're out.
It's the Abramovich. It's what I call the Abramovich mentality. Same with managers. And for me personally, I think for that very reason, if it starts to go on Frank Lampard, I think he will pull the trigger. Sarri resigned. He pulled the trigger on the former special one. Pulled the trigger on Conte because of disagreements with the board. But Conte wanted time, and Roman didn't want to give him the time. But yeah, it just really hasn't worked out. What was it, 70, 80 million pounds, world's most expensive goalkeeper. Says a lot. Yeah. Moving really into the next player in that back 5. Starting off at right center back, we have Mr. Robin Koch. Came to Leeds, big expectations of him, put on by Marcelo Bielsa. He came as more or less as a Ben White replacement because they wanted him back, but Brighton said no. Bids of 20 million and 30 million came in, and Brighton still said no. And to be honest with you, he just really hasn't looked that great. To be honest with you, personally, I don't know too much about Robin Koch. I know Andre is definitely a big fan of him. So let's see what Andre has to say about Robin Koch.
No, I'm not a fan of him. I didn't know much before, and I guess I still don't know much now. I know Tottenham were linked to him not too long ago, but I was excited to see what he was good at Leeds. I was excited to see what his strengths were, but so he's just been so inconsistent. He's really rash in his decision making from every time I've seen him. He gave away that penalty on the first match day. It's just I don't know, not a fan of him. He played in Germany's 6-5. What was scored against Spain? Was it yesterday?
6-0, 6-0 against,
Yeah.
yeah, it was him and Nicholas Sewell, Bayern Munich at
Yeah.
center back.
I mean, we know Sula's not the problem. So I don't know. Coach
No.
was he's just unreliable. I think he needs to find a balance. I think he's just not been good enough.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, he has been poor, but I mean, the one thing I will say is that it's the first 8 weeks. He's new to the league. It's a brand new environment for him.
Yeah.
Maybe he could settle in and be really good. Who knows? But yeah, he's been nothing short of dreadful. Um, I think he's I think in terms of statistics, I may be wrong, but I think he's up there with most penalties conceded or something like that. Or most fouls, something like that. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, going into the next one, and this is just no surprise whatsoever. Harry Maguire. Okay. Um. All right. One thing, and this is kind of like a shout out to everyone on my football team because as some of you know, I do love to play the game as much as I do follow it. But for whatever reason, when I first got to when I first started playing for my team, all my teammates just gave me the name Maguire, and I was thinking, what? Like okay, I don't look like Maguire. I'm not a center back. I don't cost any million pounds, and I'm not a fridge. So yeah. So I thought I'd be getting I don't know Van de Beek uh, or even Dan James because I play winger. That's my position, or I can play the nine or something like that. But I honestly don't get where the nickname came from. But yeah, not a great one to have at the moment. But anyways, getting back to where we need to go. Harry Maguire arrived to Manchester United in the summer of 2019. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer making it very, very clear that he needed a center back. He needed someone big. He needed someone strong, and needed someone proven, but also someone who was not too old, but not too young, but sort of like a mix. A veteran, definitely a proven Premier League player, and Harry Maguire, fit the bill. Um, came in, as all of you know, a huge price tag from Leicester came in. Um, um, when he first came in, he was doing really, really well alongside Victor Lindelof, and then eventually, the frailty showed, and those two just have no pace. And I've said it from time and time again, those two don't work as a center back combination. But Harry Maguire, in particular, this season, countless numbers of errors. Like the don't even get me started about Tottenham. Don't even get me started. The Ndombele goal is dreadful. The Heung-min Son goal, the first one was awful. And the I think this I think the second Son goal as well. Harry Maguire, there's just zero communication there whatsoever when Son literally just ran on the near post. But yeah, and I like the guy. I definitely back him. I think he's still a decent player, but at the moment he is horrendous. He's been good with England and international break, but he's been awful. But yeah, I'm gonna stop waffling on about Harry Maguire because as I said about Andre with Harry Kane and Heung-min Son and Højbjerg, I mean I could be waffling on for hours. So Andre, over to you. What are you thinking about Harry Maguire?
Oh yeah, I mean you said it all. I mean I think he initially came in as a good ball playing center back. Obviously a lot of discrepancy about that 80 mil price tag. Um, Probably overpaid, but whatever. He started off really well. That's undeniable. I mean, his stats. He was definitely added solidity, but just started this season off woefully, mistake after mistake. And yeah, the second Son goal. There's literally a video of him telling Luke Shaw to make the run, and then you hear David De Gea go, "No, Luke, no!" But Luke Shaw still pulls out and runs this 20 yards like it's FIFA 20, and it's just yeah, it was a huge mistake. I would be pissed if that whatever. So Maguire just needs to probably just get back to basics. He probably needs to be stripped of captaincy. I don't know. I don't
100%. Yeah.
feel that, but yeah, he just needs to just get back to himself.
Yeah. I'm still laughing. When yeah, Dad was like, "No, Luke, no."
Yeah, he still runs insane. I'm like, dude, Maguire's just not the
Maguire,
player.
yeah. If you want, and if you want to hear my thoughts on Harry Maguire after that game, um, go check out the the post game match analysis, featuring yours truly, and also Andre as well. And I'll say, I don't know, a nice little reflection on what I thought about Harry Maguire's um, star-studded performance against Spurs. Rock solid. Yeah. Yeah. He needs to be stripped of the captaincy. And whether he needs to be dropped, whether he needs a partner next to him that's quick and reliable. But yeah, putting Lindelof next to him doesn't work. And the only reason why it has been working for the times it has because Solskjaer puts two central defensive midfielders in front of them, whether it's McTominay, Matic, or Fred, where he puts Pogba in the pivot, and just so on. Yeah, but that's as far as I'm gonna go about Harry Maguire. Also going forever. And the next one, as you can see, Andreas Christensen. And as I've bantered Chelsea many times in the past, I think the most beautiful center back duo is Christensen and Zuma. Because they're magical. They're absolutely magical when playing together. Literally opening day, Harry Maguire's debut. Literally, and yes, you could say Chelsea, didn't know, we're going to play so much on the counter attack, but yeah, those two were calamitous, and we've also seen it this year too. Just awful. Big highlight. I think it was a Liverpool game where I think he was up against Mane, and there was an air, and it was coming in the air, and Christensen just clumsily just clatters right into him, and I don't know what he was doing, and yeah, he got himself rightfully sent off. Yeah. Academy graduate. For those who didn't know, I didn't know this myself for a long time. I think he's 24 years of age. For me, he's just not good enough. He's not good enough for Chelsea. He's not a Chelsea quality player. And the difference for me between him and Zuma is that for me, Zuma's inconsistent. Zuma kind of reminds me of Eric Bailly in the sense that you'll get you'll get some really good games out of him, and then the next game you'll just go back to calamities, and you'll just go back to the same calamitous player that we've seen when paired with Christensen. But what can I say? Not good enough. He's for me. I think out of the three, he's probably the worst of the three. To be honest with you, he's by far the worst of the three because he's been consistently bad since he's been, given actually a good run in the team, starting last year under Frank Lampard. Andre, what are you saying about Andreas Christensen?
I mean, yeah, for me personally, I think Dave is sometimes overly harsh on Christensen. We all know your feelings towards Christensen, like it's pretty historic. But yeah, I give him a little more praise in that I do think there is a player there, but yeah, it's been not good enough now. It's hard to see him getting into that Chelsea defense right now. It's just, you've got Thiago Silva, Zuma, even Rudiger. I mean, they're
Even
looking.
Rudiger's ahead of him in the pecking order. He was dropped by
Yeah.
Lampard for ages. And for Robbo, I'm sorry for watching, but even you told me, even Robbo, who's a Chelsea fan, has told me that Christensen is just not good enough. So,
No.
as you were saying,
Yeah, no. No, you've put it perfectly. I think I still think there's a player there. I don't know if Chelsea's the right fit, but yeah, he's just no. He's not been good enough. Underwhelming, really.
all right. Well, there you have it, Andreas Christensen. Now, moving into the wing backs. First wing back, we have George Baldock from Sheffield United. And what can I say other than Sheffield United have just been the direct opposite of what they were last year? Sheffield United last year, and I said it, there's a huge difference in quality between Dean Henderson and Aaron Ramsdale, especially when you pay £22 million. £22 million for Aaron Ramsdale. She's honestly, I genuinely don't know how much worse. Well, no, you could be worse. You could pay 80 million for Kepa, 70 million for Kepa. But that could, even though it is only 22 million, that's right up there. That's right up there. What can I say? this guy was phenomenal last year with Sheffield United when they were, when they were being talked about being a top four contender, when they're talked about being a Europa League contender. But yeah, this year Sheffield United have just been nothing short of abysmal, and this guy, I think, um, I think, I think he's only behind Hector Bellerin and Tarek Lamptey for most fouls in the league. This guy, last season, this guy had phenomenal crossing abilities. This guy would put in really good balls in the box. And this year, I'm really not seeing it from him. And defensively, he's been poor as well. It's just been poor all around. What are you saying about George Baldock?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all know Sheffield United, they play a really innovative style of football, but they haven't got the individual talent to muster up like they did last season. I think George Baldock was really really exemplary last season. I thought he was fantastic, and this season he should have been one of the leaders. He should be a leader and lead by example, and he just hasn't done it. Yeah, it's underwhelming from Sheffield United as a whole, but I think George Baldock in particular, I think it was my suggestion to put him in here. I think yeah, I think it's tough. It's hard to watch. I hope he can improve.
Yeah, and for the right back slot, and for a lot of these positions are actually difficult. Like, Andre and I didn't just go, oh, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. Some of them are actually really tough
This was
to
the
think about.
right wing back was the toughest to probably get someone for.
Yeah, he was, and I know Arsenal fans are probably going to go mental on us and call us biased. But I think even Sears can say Hector Bellerin has just been, he's been, to be honest with you, he really hasn't been that great this season, to be honest with you. In terms of right backs that are actually playing, yeah, he's been poor. I mean, we saw it in the Villa game. Jack Grealish bullied him. He absolutely bullied him. He tore him a new one. Anyways, yeah, that's what to say about George Baldock. And going into the left wing back, and again, this was another difficult one. I was definitely on the fence with this one, but I just finally succumbed to it. But yeah, Mr. Luke Shaw. I know if Mark Gorbridge from the United Stands watching this, um, he'll probably say, "Oh, James, he's got an agenda against Luke Shaw. He's got an agenda against Luke Shaw." For me, I've said about Luke Shaw so many times, I'll say it again. Um, for me, I like Luke Shaw, but he's not good enough to start. I think defensively, at times, he can be a decent enough player. Going forward, I just see, I really don't see that much input from him. Um, and the scariest thing for me is when I don't see Bruno Fernandes on the pitch. Luke Shaw is our second choice set piece taker. Gives me a lot of nightmares. That Tottenham game, he was absolutely awful. Against Arsenal, it's even Willian had him on toast. Willian. What can I say? But for me, in terms of the entire starting 11, I think Luke Shaw's probably the best of his bunch. Looking at our overall starting 11 before we give it to you, before we give it to you later. But yeah. Well, what are you saying about Luke Shaw?
Yeah, we've seen what he's capable of, but yeah, he's had it tough in recent times. I'm sure Mourinho loved, uh, exposing him in the game that we played against each other.
And also more or less calling him fat when he was
Yeah,
managing United. He slated Luke Shaw all the time.
yeah, yeah. But Luke Shaw is, he's. I think left back is definitely it's a tough position for United to fill. I think we'll see what Alex Telles is capable of, but clearly Shaw keeps getting selected over him, and Shaw just doesn't.
Well, he's out with COVID, so it's
Oh,
Luke
is he?
Shaw
Okay.
or it's Luke
Not
Shaw
sure.
or Brandon Williams.
Oh, yeah,
And
Brandon Williams.
Brandon Williams at left back. And I'm going to call out someone that I know who for whatever reason, this guy just always he's always going in on Brandon Williams, just of all players. And I'm thinking to myself, why do you hate Brandon Williams so much? I mean, the guy is not even playing in his proper position. He's not a left back. He's being played there because there's no one else. I mean, it's him or Fosu Menza, but he's not a left back. He's a right back. He can play. He's okay at left wing back, but he's not a left back. He's better. He's better as a right wing back or left wing back, right wing back, in the back three, back five, whatever. But yeah, Luke Shaw is just kind of the only one we have at the moment. Yeah, he hasn't looked great. He really hasn't. Anything else to say about Luke Shaw?
Oh, I think you put it. I mean, he's just no. I don't. I mean, it is just hilarious to see him step up to those set pieces for United as a second choice. It's just, yeah, Luke Shaw. Just I don't know. I'm not. Yeah, that's enough about Luke Shaw.
Yeah, we're gonna be waffling on about Luke Shaw, and yeah, I don't want to spend my time doing it. Anyways, going into the first of that midfield duo, and we have Mr. Gylfi Sigurdsson. His position, he more or less got dropped from the Everton side when their big signing James Rodriguez arrived from Real Madrid. I don't know if it's true or not, but rumors had it that he refused to give James Rodriguez the number 10. I don't really know what to make of that. And every time he has played and he's been given plenty of opportunities, he just hasn't fit the bill. I mean, I mean, I mean, I mean, I'm seeing Sigurdsson, and it's just like he can't do what he used to do. He can't put in the set pieces he used to be able to do. The free kicks just aren't the same. I mean, he's a lot slower. He's less dynamic. He seems. It's almost as if he's becoming more mobile. He's lost a lot of that mobility. He's lost that engine. And yeah, he has 0 goals, 0 assists so far, and yeah, it's not good enough. Really not good enough for this Everton side. And if Everton want to improve, guys like Sigurdsson, need to go in the bin and need to go. I think he makes a decent wage as well. Another reason to get rid of a guy like Gylfi Sigurdsson. What are you saying about him?
Yeah, I mean, he's a talented player, but it doesn't seem like he belongs with that Everton side anymore. He's being a little wasted there with the new transfer of James Rodriguez. Um, we've seen Sigurdsson's ability. I mean, there's one long shot that he has where it forever ingrains in my memory, and I always try to recreate it where it swerves from left to right and also up down. We should show it on the Instagram story one day, but yeah, I think he's just a fantastic player, but he's not a good fit. Everything's been incredibly underwhelming, even though, yeah, we all know what he's capable of. We've all seen him terrorize United a lot of times.
Yeah. I was literally praying that you wouldn't mention it. I was
Yeah,
literally praying you wouldn't mention it. This guy, I swear, every time we would play Swansea, I swear, this guy would, regardless of what the score was, every single time, free kick, Sigurdsson on it, and I knew we were screwed. And I thought, oh shit. And every time I knew David De Gea was also thinking, oh crap, I'm screwed here. And he would always put it in that top corner, and every single time it would drive me crazy, and I would go mad. And I'm just like, how on earth? It happens every single time with freaking Gylfi Sigurdsson, man.
I mean, he's always found a way. His technical ability is fantastic. I'm a huge fan of the guy,
No
but
doubt about it. Yeah, he's a talented player, but just doesn't
incredibly
fit with
underwhelming.
Everton
Incredibly
anymore.
underwhelming, and he's getting minutes. He's just really wasted. I think he's
Well,
just
injuries, That's the only
that
reason
too.
why.
But yeah, he's just underwhelming this season. That about encapsulates it.
All right. And moving on to the second of that midfield duo, and of course it is Granit Xhaka. I would love to have serious thoughts on him. Um, I think what can I say? Thomas Partey is severely limited this guy's minutes. But however, he's been able to play, a good number of games, and he really hasn't looked convincing in a lot of them. I know if DT were watching this, you would probably turn me new one, and call me biased, but yeah, it's just not good enough. And if Arsenal want to get better, they have to do better than Granit Xhaka. I know Arteta rates him, and if it weren't for Arteta, I think Xhaka would have left after everything with Unai Emery and the whole turmoil that they're happening. And I know Andre was very sad to see that turmoil happen with Arsenal. But yeah, it's just it's poor. He really hasn't been super convincing. Arteta, even picking El Neni, had a Xhaka who against Manchester United. I'm just gonna not talk about that superb performance. But yeah, he's even bringing El Neni back into the squad, who I think myself and most other reliable Premier League fans would say he would have been at the very top of Arteta's sell list. Yeah, it's a strange one. But yeah, Granit Xhaka, he's so limited as a footballer too. And I'm not trying to waffle on about Granit Xhaka, but I mean, I mean, I mean, for most times, the guy only passes, sideways and backwards. And yes, I know he's a holding midfielder, but he's also been coached as an 8 as well, and I've seen him play those forward passes at times to create. He's not a number 10, but it's always either forward, it's always either sideways or backwards, never forwards. Yeah. Granit Xhaka, not my kind of player. Andre, what are you saying about Granit Xhaka?
Yeah, don't get me talking about him. I think he even looks dumb in that picture, but I don't know. I guess he's been utilized pretty like with a lot of versatility. Even though I'm not sure he has it, he's slotted in the defense when they've needed it.
Oh yeah, back three.
Yeah,
He's played left center back.
yeah, and so he's being used, but I don't know. I just think you look at the rest of the talent in Arsenal, and he just does feel like he's a part of the vintage Arsenal. I think if Arsenal do want to take steps forward, then I think bringing in another truly class player, really destructive, good player would really improve
Alongside Partey.
Yeah, alongside, yeah. I think Partey is fantastic, but I think they could still use someone else instead of Xhaka. I think a lot of Arsenal fans, obviously, he had that whole thing with the captaincy last season where they were really tearing into him. So he's doing it now, but I don't know. We'll see how long he stays at Arsenal. We'll see. I think he's a little out of place in the overall movement forward, but we'll see how he does. I don't know.
Yeah, Andre put it very well there. I agree with most of it personally. For all you lot watching, you can tell us in the comments below what you think of Xhaka or of any other player that we mentioned so far. We want to hear your thoughts on anything and everything. Please tell us in the comments. We want your feedback. Anyways, enough about the comments. But Granit Xhaka. I mean, I know DT, loves him to death. I know he's his favorite, but yeah, unfortunately, you can't paper over the cracks with that. And that, yeah, not good enough for Arsenal whatsoever. Moving into the first member of that attacking three, and a former Arsenal player, Alex Iwobi. He scored one goal, I think, last year with Everton, with the 25 appearances that he had with Everton, 6 of them off the bench. And yeah, he's just sums up why Arsenal got rid of him. I think if I were to sum up Alex Iwobi, yeah, in a couple words, I think it would just be the unfinished article. For me personally, I think Iwobi at times can be tremendous leading up to that final third, and then he panics, and there's clearly a huge lack of end product there. Clearly wasn't good enough for Arsenal, and now Ancelotti clearly sees he's not good enough to start for Everton. No reason why he's been getting minutes is because of injuries again. because there would be no way in hell he'd be starting over on any one of those three, whether it's Richarlison or Richarlison, my bad, or James or Calvert Lewin. No chance. But yeah, um, Alex Iwobi, poor again. 0 goals so far this season. I think he has one or two assists. I think he assisted the one of the James goals in the 4-2 win against Brighton. But yeah, Andre, what are you saying about or what Sirius sometimes says Alex Iwobinho?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think you put it perfectly. He lacks end product. I mean, I was excited for his transfer to Everton. I think anytime you move away from Arsenal, it's a step up. Um, but he's been, yeah, his end product. It's his end product. He has ability, he has strength. He's a good dribbler, but no, it's just his end product is really devastating. That's drastically bringing him down. I don't. Yeah, it's just his end product. He doesn't put anything up. I don't think he's that adored by fans. I don't know. He has a lot of improvement that he should have already, gotten there by now. He's just not at the level that he could be at.
Yeah, yeah, 100% agree with that. Anyways, moving right along into the right wing, and it is another Arsenal player, and that is Willian. Arrived on a free from Chelsea. And I was watching the AFTV streams. And I heard, I don't know if it was DT or someone in the comments said that they thought Ziyech was better than Willian, and I think anyone can agree to that. And Robbie said no, he's not. And he said, and I love Robbie from AFTV, and AFTV are really funny. They're great. I mean, even this guy right here, Andre, loves AFTV.
I just like
Um,
Robbie. The other ones can, you know, eat a bag of.
but yeah, I love AFTV. They're great. But yeah, I think Robbie got it horrendously wrong there. As and Chelsea fans can tell you, in the latter stages of Willian's time there, he just was not the same player as he was in his earlier years. I mean, I think the last season I saw Willian actually play pretty well. I think it was under Conte's first season. No, second season. No, William was good in his second season, very good in his second season at Chelsea or under Conte. Conte's second year. I think that was the last time I saw him actually have a pretty good year. Under Sarri he was poor, and under Lampard he was not great. But yeah, really, really, really not good enough. I personally thought when they signed him, everyone's saying Chelsea reject, but I was the one, and Sears was the one who said that we thought, I think he's different from Davies in the sense that, I mean, you got players like Martinelli and Saka who need, an experienced head and need an experienced arm wrapped around them. And I think William would be the perfect person to help teach guys or youngsters like Saka, like Martinelli, even Pepe to a certain extent. Just or Reese Nelson, give these guys an older head to look to, a guy who someone matures, someone experienced, someone who's done it all. And yeah, and all I can say about Willian is that all I can do as of now is take set pieces, and even then, as DT has said many times, his set pieces can't even beat the first man anymore. It's not good enough, really, really not good enough. And for Arsenal fans who will not have to see him at Arsenal for the next 3 years, hopefully things can turn around. But yeah, I think he's on what 100, 150K a week. It's monstrous wages for 32-year-old who's it. I mean, by my standards, average. Anyways, Andre, what are you saying about Willian?
No, I think when you put it in the terms that you did with the whole youth thing, it seemed like a no-brainer of a transfer. It seemed like it would work.
And it was free.
Yeah. No, that's why it was a no-brainer. I think it was good that they went for it. And it still seemed like it was good when he had that fantastic debut. talented player. It was only under that year at Conte that he was linked to a huge move to Barcelona, where they
60 million, and Chelsea said no.
and Malcolm. They included Malcolm in the deal. If you For those of you who remember Malcolm.
Maybe
Um,
maybe that was the reason why. Nah,
uh,
nah, bro. Shout out to Malcolm, man. I feel for Malcolm. He should have gone to Roma, not to Barca. If he'd gone to
yeah,
Roma, he would have been a really good player because he actually
100,
was good. He actually was a
100%.
good player before.
Barcelona ruined him. Yeah,
They ruin everyone. Barca and Real Madrid ruin almost everyone.
yeah, yeah. I mean, Arsenal. They keep signing these rejects. You look at. I'm not going to go into it. Uh, I was
His
about to make a
bias is
Daddy
taking over.
Ceballos, David Luiz, all these guys. It's fine. I'm
David
not.
Luiz,
But
David Luiz hasn't been too bad. It's been kind of straight down the middle.
yeah,
It's been straight down the middle. Petr Cech wasn't great. He really wasn't that good of a signing, but David Luiz was actually straight down the middle. To be honest with you, I mean that wasn't too bad of a signing, and it was only £8 million. And with a
yeah,
guy and a guy of that experience and a guy with the things that he's won and his stature and his what's on his resume, I mean for £8 million, I mean that's a decent deal. I mean
yeah,
that's a decent deal. And it was a last minute thing. Unai Emery needed a center back, and he was looking around, and David Luiz was there, available for £8 million. So it's like, yeah, screw it, just go get him. Anyways, yeah, that's our right winger Willian, and then up front, I know some of you could be thinking Anti Martial. We were strongly considering it. As much as I love Anthony Martial, he is my favorite player on Manchester United. I love the guy, I love him to bits. He is a wonderful, wonderful player. But we actually ended up not including him just for the pure reason of that. He's played 3 games if you think about it,
no, Davis didn't want to. I wanted to include him.
bro. Oh my, okay,
Not the
yeah.
reason. I 100% wanted to include him, but whatever.
He's only played 3 games.
4, I think. I think it's 4. I think he's played 4, rested 4 from what I checked. Okay, I think he has more games than I think Christensen, but I'm not sure. So
Oh, don't even get me started. No, Andre, stop with the
we'll
excuses.
talk about it. He's on our bench. We'll talk about it. We'll get to Martial later. I insisted that he get a special mention. So whatever. Let's just move on to who's next. I
I
know who
already
it
told you,
is.
Marshall's not in the
Another
team.
dreadful whatever. So let's just keep
Marshall's not in the team. Although, although we will quickly, mention him right
He's
now.
not on the bench.
No, he's on. No, bro, he's not on
Oh,
the
I
bench.
told you he's got to be on the bench. How can he not be on the bench, guy? 0 goals. He's outscored by Firmino right now. Roberto Firmino.
Because
He's
he's played
How
less
many shots does he
games.
have?
He's
When
played less
Cavani came on, he
games.
immediately had some sort of impact. An aging Cavani.
Oh,
Martial
bro,
was
come on.
brilliant. I
Anyone
see
could have scored that. Marshall
accountability.
were there, he could have scored. If
Oh,
Marshall were
but
literally
he
in
wasn't.
Cavani's spot. Anyways,
Oh,
we're not going to waffle on about Martial. Although I will briefly mention right now, we'll give a small honorary a 6-man bench, and we'll just throw Martial on there. Yeah,
better.
he has been poor. He has been really, really poor. But for the sake of the entertainment of the video, we want to include some fun banter options as well. But anyways, moving to the striker, and when you see this is a no-brainer. Joe Linton came in for what, £40 million from Hoffenheim. Was expected to lead Seabruce's line, and he has been nothing short of horrendous. He was abysmal last year. I think he scored like 2 or 3 goals. I don't even know. He was just horrendous last year, and this year as well. He's been given a couple options, but Seabruce said, "Sorry, we need to sign a striker. Get me Callum Wilson." And Callum Wilson has come in and done the job that Joe Linton could not do. So for the one time that Mike Ashley spent the money, the signing hasn't delivered. Came in from Hoffenheim, had a decent reputation there in Germany. Had a very good season at Hoffenheim before he came. Yeah, the story has been Joe Linton has not worked out. Andre, what are your thoughts on Joe Linton?
Yeah, I think anytime a club has now brought in like a big, tall, physical striker from abroad, then there is always the fear that he's going to be another Joelinton. Joelinton is he's not been good enough. I think. I mean, really, really underwhelming since his arrival, and extremely underwhelming this season too. Um, yeah, he's just not putting them in the back of the net. He's connecting, I guess, but still, it needs to be better. I mean, you could easily get better, and it wasn't worth the price tag, crazy price tag they paid for him. It just needs to be better from Jolinton. I think we all expected more of him.
Yeah, 100%. Anyways, we're now going to move right into our bench. This is probably going to be probably the funniest and the most entertaining part for most reviewers. Starting off with, and actually, you also, with the backup keeper. I mean, there were many routes we could go with this. We could have gone with Sam Johnstone. We could have gone with what's his face, Aaron Ramsdale. We could have gone Jordan Pickford, but no, there's some Benson clearly worse. And sorry for Aiden, but yeah, we have to go Adrian. What more can I say about this guy already? He was probably the worst player on the pitch against Villa. Literally, I think it was the first like 2-3 minutes. No, 4 minutes. Stupid pass to Joe Gomez, put him in a really bad position. And yeah, Ollie Watkins scoring right away. His positioning on his inability to get his defense organized in the box for both the McGinn goal and for the Watkins hat-trick header. It's just shambolic. It's not good enough. Despite most of the goals, like, I don't know, like, I mean, there's 7 goals. I mean, like, I honestly feel like 4 or like 5/7 of the goals were just, I don't know, it was like deflection city. So many of those goals were just deflection after deflection after deflection. So that says you feel a bit bad for Adrian. But yeah, he has been poor. If you think about it, I mean, even Karius, I know people will remember Karius for the Champions League final, but I will say there were games where Karius, put Mignolet on the bench, and for as long as Mignolet's been at Liverpool, not any keeper can just come in and immediately displace the starter. As bad as Karius was at times during that season, there were games where Karius actually played really well at times. Karius is a far better goalkeeper in my opinion than Adrian. I mean, this guy got released by West Ham. That says something. Anyways, Andre, what are your thoughts on Adrian?
Yeah, he's Adrian. I mean, that's it. I don't think he was a good transfer. I don't think from the beginning it was too obvious of a transfer. It just doesn't work. Yeah, just really unreliable. I don't think he guarantees you much.
Other than
Which
conceding goals.
Yeah, which for me, I think if I'm signing any keeper, I think I just want to be guaranteed something, some assurance, and he's just been really, yeah, it's really dreadful. That's just clumsy. I think sums it up. I think the Aston Villa, obviously, a ton of them were deflections. Really, in terms of actual saves, I don't think any of them were that much his fault. But it's just there are still better options, and it's hard to see him staying at this club. I think we all know that he's probably going to leave or just be a third choice. But yeah.
Yeah, not good enough. The next player and this is one we chose purely out of interest. Yes, he's played 1 game, and now people are gonna come back and terrance me about the Anthony Martial thing. One of Andre's most favorite and beloved players, Mr. Sia Kolasinac. What more can I say about the thing I remember most about Kolasinac was and big up Kolasinac for this one was fighting off robbers and protecting Mesut Ozil, Casper the Ghost. He has just been unbelievably dreadful since the end of Emery's first season, all of last season, even for like the 1 or 2 games that he got this season. He's just been awful. And he makes over 100 grand a week. That is just obscene wages. I don't even know why he's even on that money. Maybe when Ivan Gazidis and them lot were in charge, maybe they were the ones that tripped the contract. Kind of like the Mesut Ozil situation, £350,000 a week. But yeah, he's just. I mean, he's been playing the back three. He's been playing at wing back. He's so poor. He's so poor. The reason why Luke Shaw got in the starting 11 was because he's been playing consistently. so it made more sense to put him in. But yeah, Kolasinac, he's just horrendous. Even when Ashley was at Man United, or when Darmian was at Man United, I mean, they were better than Kolasinac. I remember, and I still laugh about it this day. I remember AFTV and the United States were doing a combined 11, and they were talking about a left back, and AFTV suggested Kolasinac, and Mark Goldberg said he's just the Bosnian Darmian, and to be honest, he is, but he can't even do the defensive work that Darmian did. But yeah, Andre, what are you saying about your forever love Kolasinac?
I mean, I've always just liked the guy, but I mean, looking at our bad 11, I think I wanted to include like a couple more United players, and I said no, that's BS. But I did not realize how many Arsenal players or ex-Arsenal players we include, and now I do feel bad. I don't think they deserve this much. Kolasinac has gotten one game, but I think we all know that he's been bad. I think we probably could have gone with a better option, Dave.
For
But
the backup left back, for the left
I
back,
don't know.
who who we have included for a
I
left
don't
back
know. This
or
is the
just a
bench
defender?
stuff. I don't know. We could have found whatever. I feel bad including him, but I do. He is just dreadful. I don't even think the Arsenal fans like him anymore. He's just
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, most
yeah.
Arsenal fans don't even like him, and also
There's no
as you
point.
said earlier, some of these were just purely for banter choices.
Yeah.
But a lot of these actually did make sense. Um, and yeah, as I said earlier, we just changed the 5-man bench to the 6-man bench because yeah, I did as you know, as painful as for me to say, yeah, Anthony Martial does get into this.
Awful.
Andre, that's enough. He's better than he's better than Harry Kane.
Well, like you were gonna say, cause
Just jokes.
Harry Kane, whatever. But yeah, okay,
Yeah,
okay, cool. Let's move on.
yeah, yeah. Sixth player Martial is just added to the squad because he's been horrendous. So yeah, yeah, Martial's in. Anyways, the next player, and I think, and Andre can certainly agree to this. He's not the same as he was before, or as this player famously quoted. I am 24 years old. My body cannot do the things it can when it was younger, and that is, of course, Dele Alli. I mean, even his goatee and his beard looks bad. He even looks dumb in the picture. I mean, honestly, Jose Mourinho just, I think he's made it very clear now that Dele Alli is not in his starting 11. His new favorite and loved Tanguy has now firmly cemented that number 10 spot. I mean, Dele Alli's been in a couple Premier League games. Yeah, he's just not the same player, and the drop off from last year is enormous. I mean, there's been a huge drop off in form, and I think that, this was a no brainer to put here. Andre, what are you saying about the second rate Jesse Lingard or Andreas Pereira?
No, okay. No, I didn't. When his name was mentioned, I didn't tussle with it at all. I just said, yeah, that's fine. Put him in. He's one of my favorite players at Tottenham since I've become a fan. But yeah, he's just like you said, the drop off has been enormous. He doesn't deserve to be in the 11. I don't think. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't even deserve the bench right now. And yeah, I think he just needs to find his football. And he hasn't. He's started that first match, was subbed off after at halftime after 45 minutes in the loss against Everton. The only loss in the Prem so far was the one game that he started. It's just not looking good at the moment. There's been talks of a loan move for him. It's just, yeah, this isn't the Dele Alli I know, or we all know. It's obviously he's just not anywhere near his talent. He needs to just step it up, and he will, hopefully. But no, he deserves to be here, undoubtedly.
All right. Well, there you have it with Dele Alli. Anyways, going to the next player, and this is a player that Andres told me off camera he loves with all of his heart. For I don't know why he loves him so much. Right wing, he played right wing, he played center forward. Takumi Minamino. I know Liverpool fans will say this is harsh just for limited amount of games he's been able to play, but when I see him at Liverpool, I mean, he really doesn't offer that much. Yes, it was a bargain buy for Liverpool. And I know how much Andre loves it, how much I big up Liverpool's scouting network. But yeah, what can I say? He really hasn't been the same player as he was at Salzburg. He's more of a squad player now, and I think everybody knew it when he came in. Disappointing. And for the chance he's been given, maybe being overly harsh. Some people could make the argument, but yeah, poor. And again, he offers pace and some athleticism, but other than that, he really doesn't offer that much. Um, uh, Andre, what are you saying about Takumi Minamino, and how much do you praise him for his amazing impact at Liverpool?
No, the hell was the point of this transfer? I get, oh, it was only 7 mil, so that's pretty good. Yeah, but what? That's such a stupid whatever. He's not useful. He doesn't provide much. Yes, he's still developing. I don't think their scouting is that great. I've always said that. I just think Klopp has really instilled just the really great development of players in his training, which is why we've seen, players really have a great impact. But Minamino's,
Boom.
I don't know. It's hard to see him succeeding anytime soon, and that being anytime this season. I think it'll take another year for us to see. Okay, Minamino isn't that bad, but it's just, yeah. I don't rate this guy at all. I don't know how many Prem appearances he has, so I don't know how much he deserves to be here. But I don't rate the guy at all.
Regardless of what Andre is saying now, he secretly told me off camera that he would love to sell Harry Kane in a swap deal with Liverpool and bring in Takumi Minamino. He would absolutely love to see Minamino start banging in goals for Spurs and bring in Minamino. Right, Andre?
No, I'm incredibly harsh on Minamino. Notoriously.
Anyways, going to the last player on our bench, Alexander Lacazette. And yeah, I spelled his name wrong. I don't know.
Is it R-E instead of?
Yeah, it's R-E. Yeah, it's Alexandre Lacazette. My apologies for spelling his name wrong. But yeah, 2018-19 Arsenal Player of the Year. There was definitely a drop off in terms of his form last year and this year. One thing I always hear Arsenal fans saying, including Sears, I always hear them saying, big chances and big moments. In big moments, so many big chances miss. And as Jose said a little while ago, an old friend once told us that Lacazette was a big game player. Yeah, I'm just gonna let that go on. And just quickly wrap up. Andre, what are you saying about Lacazette?
I mean, I think there has been drop off in the recent matches. He had a few big chances. Can't remember who. It might have been. I really can't remember who, but I just remember one game he had two big one-on-ones. It might have been Liverpool. I really don't remember, but and he botched them. He's not as clinical as he needs to be. But even though I'm saying that, he started off the season incredibly well. He scored in each of his first three appearances, one goal in each, which is a lot more than what Martial has done. So I don't even think he deserves to be on the bench. Honestly, I think we have enough Arsenal players. Martial should have been here, I think, instead of Lacazette.
Well, I gave him an honor. I gave him a mention. I gave him the mention.
Yeah, but here's my thing though. Lacazette, yes, there has been a drop off, but there's been even way more bigger drop off in Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. He's literally Lacazette has outscored Aubameyang in the first 8 matches of the season.
Okay. And
Aubameyang is a fantastic player. That's my whole point. Is that he's been disappointing. Lacazette, yeah, he's been poor the last few games, but for me,
he's best down the middle and he sacrificed his position.
Belong here more than
so Lacazette can play with him.
What?
He sacrificed playing his preferred position, which is down the middle. So
it's not his preferred position, though. We don't know that. He was a lot more effective off the wing. Before, it was, for a while, pundits were saying his preferred position might be on the wing because he's a lot more effective on there. His goals per minutes ratio is a lot better.
To fit Lacazette in
down the middle. I want to see
that was the whole thing. To fit Lacazette in, he was playing Aubameyang out wide.
Yeah, he was in a 4-2-3-1. He was playing off the left and playing really well. Lacazette has been the one through the middle. So there's definitely, I think Arsenal are still yet to find that fit in their attack, though I think they'll eventually find it. But both of them have been really immensely disappointing.
Yeah. And there you have it. That is our week 1, week 8 team of the year. Impressive and the not so impressive. Anyways, if you want to follow us or keep up with us, check in. Look at the links in the description below. And we will see you all next week.